Okay, welcome back to working on our random quiz. Just a quick recap. We've looked at page structure, right? The declaration, the HTML element that has a head and a body inside of it, and the body is our visible content. We've looked at headings and paragraphs, right? H1 is the most important heading. H2 is our level 2 heading. We've got a bunch of those. And if we had subtopics, maybe we'd have H3, H4. I don't often use those, depending on how complex your web page is, how many layers there are. We're just doing simple ones, so often H1, H2 are satisfactory. And then our paragraphs, right? These opening and closing tags to say this is where my paragraph begins and ends. This is where my heading begins and ends. That's slash to close, and then the no slash to open. All right, we set up Visual Studio Code. We set up our F drive. Good stuff. Now, we're going to continue, so with headings and paragraphs, we're going to look at horizontal rules and images, probably in this video, and maybe a few settings here. First of all, the gearbox down here in Visual Studio Code, that gives us some options, and you can go to settings, but there's also this color theme. I like using this light version. I find it's easier, Visual Studio Light, or this one, I don't know what the difference is. Anyway, I like the light version because I find it's easier for you guys to see when I'm on the projecting onto the wall and stuff. But there's lots of look at that, lots of options here. A lot of people like the dark ones. High contrast, that's kind of cool. Anyway, feel free to change your work environment to whatever kind of things you want. Apparently, you can get additional color themes too. Don't spend too much time searching for something. I'm just going to stick with the nice light one. Okay, there are also some extensions that you can get. They're recommending a bunch. These are kind of add-ons to Visual Studio Code that help. The one thing for sure that we're going to do now is, remember how when I made a change, right? So let's just say I deleted this word, what country, and just get rid of it, and I save it. I don't see the change here until I hit refresh. And that can be kind of annoying, that extra step to hit refresh every time. So there's something called live server. So if we search live server, yeah, this is the one I think, live server by Ritwick Day, and we just click on install, it'll install this extension to Visual Studio Code. And once it installs, I'll show you how to use it. Okay, so it should be good. So we can close that. And you'll notice now down below it says go live. Sometimes for some reason it glitches and doesn't show that. You can also right click and say open with live server now. Okay, and notice here, right, this shows the file, F drive, random quiz, index.html, right? That's that index.html file we're working on here. If I open it with the live server, I hit go live, you'll see now that it has this 127 blah 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 index.html, and basically it's running through something called a local server or local host. So it's still not visible on the World Wide Web, but on this computer it's kind of acting as a little local server. Visual Studio Code now has a connection through that local server. So now when I make a change to this, right, if we delete this and hit Control S, it automatically refreshes. Okay, undo, Control S, it automatically refreshes because there's now a connection between them. So every time you save, it should reload. Okay, what other extensions do I use? There's also Beautify. I've used Beautify before, but someone told me about Prettier. I'm going to try this one, Prettier. It's a code formatter. So if we hit install, and what this does is it just automatically does some prettifying of your code to make sure things are tabbed and spaced nicely and stuff like that. Hopefully you don't need this too much because you'll write good looking code. But if I were to, let's just say, you know, there's all this indentation, but this one's not indented properly. If I were to hit F1, this gives me all of the commands. There's something called format document. Shortcut for that is Shift-Alt-F. So I hit format document. Oh, see, I think it knows I used to use Beautify. So I'm going to configure and hit prettier. And prettier now did the tabbing and stuff for me. Oh, look, and it tabbed the head and the body and everything. Right? So kind of, like I said, it just gets rid of, if things are out of whack and don't look good and not lined up, you hit Shift-Alt-F and it'll line things up for you nicely. Okay, so feel free to add those extensions. Right now, it should, why does it show me what I have installed? That's weird. Popular, recommended. That's nice. Anyway, those are my extensions I've installed. Seriously, this bothers me. Where are the ones I've installed? Oh, there we go. Show installed extensions. There we go. Live Server and Prettier are the two that we've got installed, and that should do us well for now. Okay. Oh, announcement. Hold on a second. Okay, now that we've got this set up a little bit better, let's actually close that. Let's get to adding some more content. So horizontal rules, HR tag. You'll notice something with this HR tag is that the paragraph tag or the paragraph element had an opening tag and a closing tag because it has content, right? What's the content of the paragraph? An HR tag does not have a closing tag. It's I think they call it an empty element. And an HR, it's because it doesn't have any content. It's defined as a thematic break, or are often referred to as a horizontal rule. So the default, if I put an HR right here, the default behavior is to have this thematic break, a horizontal line. Okay, and we'll just really simply add HRs at the end of every question and under the main title there, and you'll see now it kind of adds these nice breaks between each section. Okay, that's the HR tag or HR element. Now images. Images, there's a little bit more going on. An image also is a empty tag. There's no closing tag. What we do instead is we provide these attributes. So notice inside, right, this is all one opening tag, and inside of that opening tag there's a source attribute, an alt attribute, height attribute, and a width attribute. Okay, and basically the image tag, there's no text content. It's saying, hey, use this file as the source for the image. Okay, so let's see if we can add an image. We were going to add underneath this paragraph, what country uses the flag below. Let's have an image, source equals, and then quotations. Alternative, alt is just basically if there's a problem loading the image, or for visually impaired people, it'll describe the alternative text, and we'll just give it Canada flag, because we're going to find an image of a Canada flag to display there. And then width and height we'll deal with later. We don't need those. Okay, so this obviously, I save this. We won't see anything. Here, let's close this file one. We won't see anything. Actually, it says, hey, I can't load this empty file. And so it shows me that alternative text Canada flag. All right, so let's get a Canada flag. I'm going to open a new tab. Let's go Canada flag. Go to images, and Google Images gives me a bunch of results. Okay, now we can download these and put them into our folder and use it, but let's, under Tools here, we can go to Usage Rights. We're not doing these web pages professionally. We're not going to sell them, so I'm usually not too worried about usage rights, but it's a good habit. You want to make sure you're not using copyrighted images. So I'm going to go, Google has this one for under Tools. You can go labeled for non-commercial reuse. And beautiful, there's a bunch of flags here. This one looks wonderful. Okay, now this is just a preview. A common mistake people make is they right-click and say Save Image As over here. I often go Open Image in New Tab. This is now the full image. Woo! I'm going to right-click on this and say Save Image As. Okay. So I'm going to save image as. I'm going to go to my F drive, And where is it? Veltcamp colon CS10, right? My web dev folder and my random quiz project. And inside of here, ooh, this is a weird one. It's got the .svg, but it's .png. That should be okay. Usually images are either PNG, JPEG. Actually, let's find a JPEG one. I think JPEG, PNG has no compression to it, whereas JPEG often is good for web pages because it has a bit of compression. You want to use a wavy flag? Sure, why not? Okay, so again, right-click, open image in new tab. We'll go save image as, and here we go again, F-Drive, Veltcamp, Web Dev. And let's make a new folder in here called Images, and we'll save this inside of my Images folder. Now, if we go to here, you'll see, great, there's an Images folder with that file in it. Awesome. And Visual Studio Code is pretty smart. This index.html lives inside of here. So when I tell it to find the image, it starts looking where this index.html file is. So I have to tell it to look inside of the images folder. So I go images / and Visual Studio Code is nice. It's finding the image for me. I can even just click on it and it'll find that beautiful image. Okay, let's make this smaller again. Go back to our random quiz. Now if I hit save, ta-da, there's my image. Okay, it's too big though, but thankfully we can do these width and height properties. So I'm just going to add on to the inside of the opening tag here. We'll go width equals, and then in quotations, the value, let's just go 400. I'm going to go px for pixels. I don't think I need to, but I like to specify my units. I've been trained from math and science, right, to write your units. So save that, and you can now see, great. I could specify a height, but if I just give it a width, it'll automatically just keep the ratio, and maintain the aspect ratio. Okay, which country uses the flag below? Beautiful. And then let's maybe try to add another image. Who is Poe, the Kung Fu Panda scared of this audio clip? We'll add an audio clip, but let's also add an image of Poe. All right, Kung Fu Panda JPEG. And my usage rights. Oh, that one's kind of funky. Lego. Do I have my usage rights here? Labels and non-push. Let's get rid of the JPEG so I have maybe some more options. Oh yeah, that's cool. Let's do, oh, that's huge. See, it gives you the resolution. But I can resize them, I guess. That's a nice small one. Let's try this one. So again, open image in new tab. Oh, this one's got the transparent background. Save image as, and it remembered where I saved it. I'm in the same place here, so images. Let's just rename this Panda, well, Kung Fu Panda. Save. Okay, close that now. All right, so now right under here, we'll go img source equals images / Kung Fu Panda. Alternative text will be Kung Fu Panda and save. And that's huge. We can just resize that again with equals, let's just go 300 pixels. This one's more of a vertical one, I think. Cool. Okay, so that shows you how to add images with the image element and these attributes, source attribute, alternative text attribute, and the width attribute. All right, next video we will look at adding links, maybe some lists, audio buttons. We're getting there. And then style yet. Okay, hope that made sense. Yeah, take care and see you in the next video.